सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Repeat after me. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलम् ज्ञया प्राप्यते फलम् कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडम्। कृतिमहो ददौ पतनकारणम् कृतिमहो ददौ पतनकारणम् फलमशाश्वतं गतिनिरोधकम्। ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतम् चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकम्। कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमम् कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमम् पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात्। Somebody once said something very precious and beautiful. The greatness of a person, of an individual, is not decided by what assets they carry, but instead the greatness is in their simplicity of living, thought, word and deed. To put forth something in a very simple manner, uncomplicated manner, it shows the greatness of that individual, because that shows the amount of clarity that they have, the amount of experience that they have, because of which that clarity has dawned in, and that is seen in our Ramana Maharshi's work. It's such simple words that he talks. He says the entire crux of our Vedic literature, which indicates our main cause, main purpose of being a human being, what can it be? He sums it all up in 4 simple sentences in the 4th shloka. When we talk of human life, human purpose, it is that we are all searching for something. Sometimes we are so engaged in our search that we forget as to what I was searching. It happens. you are working seriously on something, you are reminded of a reference in a book or reference in something or some bill or something which was left out in the main hall. You step out, you meet and greet somebody, say hi, hello, and then you move to your hall wherein you knew that those things were there. But as you reached your hall, your mind blanked out. You are like wondering, why did I come here? Yes, I was trying to remember something, I was trying to get something, I do not remember what it is now. And sometimes you go back to your original spot from where you started it all. Then it dawns in that, oh, I was working on this, I need a reference. So, you quickly run. Now, this time not to get distracted with any other hi, hellos in between, reach, find your thing, come back. But strange enough in life, we have started out searching something, but somewhere in mid route, we have forgotten as to what we are searching even. We get caught up and caught up pretty fast in just the doing of various things, forgetting what exactly am I searching. A very confused state of existence. So, if we stop anybody and ask them whatever they are doing at that moment, why is it that you do what you do? Most of us blank out because we do not have a reason to state. So, he is here reminding us of our ancient glory, forgotten self, misidentified. He says, if that has to be reached and if that happiness, the bliss ultimate is our goal, Paramatma in other words is our goal, then how do we reach it? What are the equipments that we have and how do we use those equipments to reach to our goal? As simple as he can give it. So, he says that as a human personality, we have different layers. What are these different layers? He says, Kaya Vang Manaha Karyam Uttamam. He says, through the body, mind and intellect, Kaya Vang Manaha. Through our body, speech and mind, we perform karya or we should be performing karya. But most of us are not performing karya, we are performing karma. And what is the difference between karya and karma? Karya means the act, karma means the action. Now, what is the difference between act and an action? When you perform an act, isn't it called an action? We are getting too much into semantics here. So, let us use these two words as separate, act and action. And what is the difference between act and an action? Action has an ahankara, ego, performing with the role of karta, the doership. Whereas, in the act, there is the act performed without the doership involved, and it is a huge difference. So, if you subtract the karta from the karma, what remains is karya. At our physical level, at our speech level and at our mind, internal organ level, whatever we perform, it is only through these three equipments that we perform actions. If you think about it, there are only three of them. And for many of us, the integrity is lost somewhere in its translation from mind to speech to action. We think something, say something else and do entirely something different. So, that person is deemed as someone who does not have integrity. See, you are about to leave for some function, and a friend of yours drops by uninvited, he just drops by, because in our Sanskriti we do not call them gate crashers, we call them Athithi. Athithi is always welcome. So, because of our samskara, though we were stepping out, we saw him and we stepped back in. Long time no see, you hug and shake and greet. So, in the speech there is the eagerness to meet that person shown. In the action it is further expanded through your hugging and greeting. But internally what is happening? पता नहीं कहाँ से टपक पड़ा, क्यों टपक पड़ा? I don't know where did he come from. He should have at least called in. So, you are thinking something, saying something, doing something else. So, this when aligned, that what we think, what we say and what we do are in uniform synchronized mode, then it is called Trikarana Shuddhi, purity in thought, word and deed. And we have only these three equipments with which we express our actions. Now, this field of actions of what we think, what we say and what we do, just three components. Not in all occasions, not with consistency, that we have mastered the synchronized expression. Even during the lectures, I can clearly see who is keenly or intently listening and who is lost in some other world. How can you say that? There are many indications. Like the doctor's office has that, the doctor is in, the doctor is out. There is a very subtle variation on the face which says whether you are in or out. So, supposing I am talking and you are all looking at me naturally, and if the eyes are blanked out, they are looking at you, instead they are actually looking through you. There is no movement of understanding in those eyes. You can say that that person is out. And when you have these, that is the reason I do not use PowerPoint presentations, because I need to see, I need to know if what I am saying you understand or not. So, I look into those eyes and repeat if necessary. If a person is good at what they are doing as speaking, conveying a message, you do not need to reiterate by asking, did you understand? It should be obvious whether the other person has really grasped it or not grasped it. So, with these three instruments, when we function, the body is present, mind is absent. Sometimes the mind is present, body does not cooperate. And many times, though the body cooperates and the mind cooperates, we have absolutely no control over wagging little muscle, a very troublesome muscle that is. That is called tongue. We do not have any control over it. We realize what we said after what we have said is heard by us. And then we bite our tongue and say, oh, I did not mean that. Not in that way that it has come out, but I did not mean it. We do lot of stuff with our tongue, we have absolutely no control over it, both as a Jnanendriya and as a Karmendriya. Jnanendriya in the tastes, we are very picky, we are very choosy. One should be glad that food is on the plate, but instead we have our own little likes and dislikes, and not everything for everyone is palatable, literally. It throws lots of fuss, and then once it is eaten, our Mahatma Ji used to say that खाते हैं हजम नहीं होता, हजम होने तक बकते रहते हैं. So, which translates that we eat and until it gets digested we keep blabbering. It can include gossip also. We have three instruments and we have not coordinated these three instruments to align in the same direction. Now, when you learn car driving in this country, as soon as you get into a new car, what is the first thing that you have to do? Turn the ignition on and then check the positioning of your chair, the seat that you are sitting in, then check your rear view mirrors. The rear view mirrors have to be in sync in such a way that you get a panoramic view of your entire background through your left, right and middle mirrors. And then if the indicator on the dashboard says E, it does not mean enough, it means empty, which means it has to be filled with fuel. Once these initial parameters are taken care of, then you can start riding it safely. The instrument has to be tuned, instrument has to be in sync. If the right mirror is showing somewhere else and the left mirror is showing something else, try it sometimes at your own risk. You will be confused driving, and especially if you are driving that Dallas North Tollway, it is initiation. If you can drive on Dallas North Tollway, it is a free ticket to NASCAR race, because the published speed is around 65, people usually drive at 85, and if you are driving at even 70, people look at you and duh, why are you going slow? So, before you hit the road, the initial tuning has to be done. How many of us focus on our body, mind and speech to be in sync in every single act that we perform? Of course, Ramana Maharshi, being a very simple person, he does not use any harsh words. Bhagavan Krishna, he uses two harsh words. He calls them as mithyachari and vyabhichari. Two very strong words. Mithyachari is a hypocrite and vyabhichari is prostitute. If our thought, word and deed are not in sync, then we are hypocrites. And because the mind is in one direction, the body is in one direction and the speech is in another direction, it is also called vyabhichari. Bhagavan Krishna's words are very powerful. It hits you somewhere very deep. Oops. He means it. So, if we have these three instruments, what is the process to reach to that Paramatma through these three instruments? We don't have a fourth instrument, we just have these three instruments. And how are these three instruments? Body is in absolute out of shape because nothing, no aspect of the body is under discipline. We don't have control on organs of perception or action, meaning we don't have even the consciousness of being conscious of what we see and what we hear or what we do. See, when you go through the classrooms, you would find that the carpet thread has been pulled over in many places. Many places. How did it come about? You would be shocked. It is not just the children. It is even the adults. They are not conscious. On one side, their hand is pulling the thread. Like when you go into a nice, beautiful, plush lawn, sit there in a picnic. Unconsciously, what are you doing? Most of us, what are we doing? Plucking that grass. Are we conscious? Walking in a garden, they say, please do not touch the trees, flowers and fruits. We are like, we will not touch them, we will only pluck them. And when you ask them, why did you pluck? They don't have an answer, just like that. And that is why I feel, thank goodness there is nobody as a superior being than human beings. Or else suddenly one day you come by and you don't have a hand. Why? What happened? That fellow plucked it. And you ask them, why did you pluck it? Just like that. We are very unconscious of our movements. At a physical level, organs of perception and action are in different directions. There is no synchronized effort. How is the mind? Mind is fickle in nature. See, the kind of instability that we have, volatile nature that we are in. Organs of perception and action are in 10 different directions. The mind is pretty volatile, pretty fickle in its nature, never steady, very fickle in its nature. How is the intellect? The intellect is worthy of participating in a movie called Clueless. Absolutely no clarity with anything that we do. I don't know if I have to do this or not do this, but anyway let me do it. So, with the intellect not able to guide, the mind not able to perceive properly, and the intellect, the organs of perception action in haywire system, at each level of our existence, each level of our personality, there is constant friction happening. Unseen, unconscious of, there is friction happening. Imagine a system wherein there are 12 threads tied into it, each thread given a little velocity, something pulling it, each one in a different direction, sometimes crossing each other threads. How will be that system? Jumbled. That is called a human being today. The organs of perception and action are not in sync, there is a rupture there. The organs of perception and action are bound by habits. Just because of habits, we have certain reflexes developed. We keep functioning in the same path. I don't know if you have grown in a village or visited a village back in India. We used to have fun. The bullock carts, if you would visit a nearby town. So, we go in the morning, we account for all the delays that could happen. So, we go early in the morning, set out, finish our job and then come back in the bullock cart. While going, the, should I say, bullock cart driver, he has to guide to the destination. While coming back, until the bulls hit the known path, he just has to guide them. Afterwards, you can even sleep. The bulls will bring the cart to the house. Similarly, our organs of perception action, that they are yoked to that habitual existence, very difficult to break those habits. Sometimes you might have observed, you are consumed with some rigorous issue in your office, some argument, something failed, something did not work, whatever be it, it just your mind is occupied, consumed with it. Thinking about it, you set out home, you sit in the car, drive, and you are constantly thinking about it. You are almost reaching the stop sign just before your house, you are lifting your hand to turn the garage door opener, and then suddenly it dawns, how did I even reach here? Is it an experience that you have seen? That you remember nothing of the last 20-25 minutes drive, but you have safely reached, thank God. What was happening there? Mechanically, the body is tuned to certain reflexes and it functions in that pattern. The mind was consciously occupied in something else. So, there is a rupture there. And how is the mind? The mind is layered with umpteen number of layers of likes and dislikes. And those likes and dislikes are not a very consistent likes and dislikes. There are certain likes which depend on time and space. There are certain likes and dislikes which depend on the situation. This is a very confused likes and dislikes pattern that we develop. If you have lived with somebody, you know it. Different sets of likes and dislikes, and how fluctuating those likes and dislikes are. So, mind is ridden with its own complexities of likes and dislikes. The intellect, which has to be sharp, subtle and clear, has neither of those qualities in this work field, in our conscious day to day work field. If it has a proper understanding, there is no depth. If there is depth, there is no application of that depth. Like I was sitting with this, I was driving a car in India, and there was this 4-year-old. In India, they don't wear seat belts. They don't have regulation of the child not sitting in the front seat. So, this fellow said, Swamiji, I will also come with you. That is the day when I understood, because I drive here all alone, so I don't see that back seat driving. This kid, 4-year-old, was trying to navigate me through the traffic. With what details? Now hit on the clutch, shift the gear from second to third, third to first. Now apply brake. Now, he has been in that car such consistent level that he knew in and out of functioning of that car, complete understanding of that car and its functioning. He has a depth of perception, but no experience. So, I told him one day, why do not you sit, you drive, I will sit next to you. So, he very smart kid. So, he looks at me and said, one day definitely, not now. Why? Because I can't even and if you raise my seat with pillows, my feet can't reach. One day I will definitely drive you, not now. Now it is your luxury to drive and my luxury to keep saying. So, with all these complexities that develop, it appears that spirituality is difficult. Like the other day I asked this question, I keep asking questions, I do not know which congregation, which group I asked it. Are there radio waves in this hall right now? Did I ask this question? Okay. If there are those radio waves in this hall, why can't I perceive them? Tuning what? You have to have the tuner or the radio and then tune it to the required frequency to get that radio frequency which is everywhere. Right. Paramatma is everywhere. That blissful self is everywhere. Do we see bliss around? Yatha drishti, tatha srishti. Whatever is the notions and convictions that we carry, that is how we will perceive the world around us. And there is an old saying, दूध का जला छाछ को भी फूक फूक के पीता है. That when the cat, if it had an experience with too hot liquid, milk, if you give it even the cold buttermilk, it would be scared. We are also like that. We perceive everything with our past experiences and we cannot see with this kind of messed up, jumbled up organs of perception, action, mind, intellect and speech, consumed only in those layers. So, even if that Paramatma was available, we do not have these instruments ready tuned to perceive that Paramatma. So, what do the scriptures say? The scriptures say that Kaya Vang Manaha, we have these three instruments of interactions, the physical body, speech and deed, mind, thought, word and deed. And what these instruments, how do we tune them? Simple. We tune the physical body with the puja. Pujanam japah chintanam kramat. We tune the physical body with puja. Now, in this puja, when you see it, in the elaborate puja that we do, usually we perform these 16 steps of puja. It is called Shodasha Upachara Puja. Now, what is these 16 steps and how do we have to relate to this puja? It is said that when we invoke that God in that bimba, bimba is there a statue or a photo or an idol, whatever be it, when we invoke that Lord in that form, we are inviting God into that form. Now, when you invite a guest into your house, how do you treat them? However busy you were, Like supposing I knock into your house, knock, knock. You are on a phone call. Hang in there, let me finish this. You will put that aside and say, please come in. All your other busy engagements are put aside. First step. Your entire focus and attention is to that guest. Now imagine a guest whom you have not met for ages, somebody that you really adore, admire and love, and such a guest has come at your doorsteps. How excited are you? With that sense of excitement, you invoke the Lord in that bimba, that guest, the Supreme, has come in front of us as a guest. So, to a guest who arrives at our house, what are the different things that we do? In ancient India, they were very hygiene people. Today we freak out with hygienity, wherein we all carry those little tubes of what do you call them? Hand sanitizers. In those days, they understood when you go out, there is a lot of dust and lots of things that you interact with. You don't step into the house without washing your hands, feet and face. That is the first thing that you do. And that is the reason, because it had those contaminations in it, that in the ancient constructions you would find that the bathroom and the toilet were not a part of the main house, it was outside. So, as a guest comes in, first what do? Wash their feet, hands and give water so that they can wash their face. See, we have the tradition of Purna Kumbha, a kalasha, whatever material it is made of, whether it is a mud pot or a steel pot or a silver or a gold or a copper, whichever material it is nicely decorated. There is mango leaf in it, there is a coconut in it, and today the tradition is that we just hold it and chant, and then we have forgotten the meaning of it. The purpose of that Purna Kumbha was that water inside is to clean yourself. The coconut, when you break it, that water in that coconut is the most refreshing drink, uncontaminated pure energy drink. What natural product? You do not need those other energy drinks. In fact, when people are really sick and they have a weak stomach, one of the things that is prescribed is drink coconut water. It not just soothes you, but it also cures you. So, the coconut water is given, refreshing. What is today's culture? Today's culture is, would you like to have some juice or Coke, Pepsi? Those are considered as refreshing agents today. Fruit juice is still fine, but the other things, you do it only to your enemy. The pop soda things. So, you first wash their feet, invite inside, and once they come inside, the best seat in that hall, you usher them towards that. Please, birajiye, asanam granhishva. So, after you offer the seat, you give them the refreshment, and because they have come from distance, in earlier days this was a tradition, you give them a towel, a soap, new clothes. In ancient India, there was not necessity of carrying your luggage along. They were minimalists, because in every house that you go, there would always be a dhoti and an upper cloth. Hand it over. Please freshen up. Before you can interact or do anything, go freshen up. After you have cleaned yourself, then you, any time of day or night, first thing you do is offer something to eat and drink. Food is given. And that tradition, even today, we Indians follow it implicitly. You might be visiting India often, and I know when you visit for those 1 month time and you have 10-15 places to visit, and in each place you have around 15-20 houses to go. Every house you go, any time of day or night that you go, you are given little nashta or some tea and some snacks, something is given, isn't it? The hospitality gets almost to the level of hostility. Don't we do that? Because the Atithi might have come from a long distance, first give them food and water. And it is a belief that even if it is your enemy standing in your doorstep, first give them food and water, then talk about anything else. So, the guest, somebody that you admire, adore and love, to such one when you offer food, what kind of food that you offer? You would not say, yesterday's roti and the leftovers of sabji from 3-4 days, I will just heat them up, because today's culture is microwave culture. So, I will just heat them up, you eat. No, with whatever resources available, the best that you can afford is given, isn't it? And even when you are giving it, the place is not shabby little thing, like your mail from the week is there on the table, then the newspapers are on the table, the magazines are on the table, you just push them aside, sit, eat. No, you clean that entire place up, you put some flowers in there, you light a lamp or a candle, put some incense sticks there, you create the ambience there so that they feel welcome and they feel good to eat. You don't say roti phek diya, kha. No. You create that ambience and environment and the warmth so that they feel comfortable to eat that food. And after the food is taken, or while the food is being taken, you have already introduced that this is my friend, but the finer details are not given in. So, you start telling everybody, your children, your family, everybody sitting there on the table, you tell them, this, he is such a genius, or he was such a prank, or you give various details about that person, how you did this together, or how you were caught in such situation, this person helped, various details. And that is what we do when we chant the 108 names of the Lord, that you introduce to your mind the various aspects of the Lord and His glory. Such a beautiful concept. And then you finish at the dining table, now you come back at the living room, you relax. Earlier days it was, the parents would push their children to say, twinkle twinkle little star, and with all those action, the little girl comes in with 2 little ponytails on the head, and then the little frock there, and then twinkle twinkle little star, and you have to go through that process of listening to them. In today's world, that is not the case, because I have now become a Swami, so the things are, tell that shloka, tell that shloka. You learnt in that shlokathon, tell that shloka. And this kid, the very shy, doesn't want to do it and protests. And the mummy has the threat warrant released. If you love mummy, say it. Ore baapre. And the kid comes out and says, Baklatunda Mahakaya Sulakoti Samaplaba Nilvignam Kulume Deva Sarvakalesu Sarvada. Say Hari Om to Swamiji, Havi Om. A cute little fellow says all this. So you try to entertain the guest. Maybe watch a movie. And while you are watching a movie, Mukhvas. Why Mukha Shuddhyartha? Hygienity was the highest order. So you get the beetle leaf and clean it up and apply little lime powder on it and then little beetle nut on it. Make it a tasty one with a variety of things added, gulkand and whatnot, and then wrap it up and give it. That's to cleanse and digest. So you entertain your guest. Maybe you have had the new car, a Mercedes E-Series. E-Series, is it the best of the? Which is the best? S-Series? S. Okay, you got yourself a Mercedes S-Series and you say, want to go for a ride? Oh, why not? Sure. So you all bundle up into that car and the rooftop is open, the windows are open, the music is blaring. You take them for a ride and literally take them for a ride and come back. And while you are enjoying the moment. So the last aspect of puja is the entertainment section, wherein you say Chhatram Achhadayami, Chamaram Vijayami, Andolikam Samarpayami, Ratham Gajan Arohayami, Ashwan Arohayami, various things. In those days there were the vehicles, transport system was elephant, horses, camel, so that you sahar karne ke, you go out and enjoy a nice ride. You enjoy the nice ride and come back. Similarly, in these days, maybe we will have to change our vocabulary a little, Mercedes Samarpayami, BMW Samarpayami. I have a definition of BMW that may not be to everybody's liking. It is called big money waste. If anybody riding it, ouch factor. But it is not a big money waste when you offer it to the Lord. Bhagwan, ride pe chalna hai. And then you have music, Geetam Shravayami, Nrityam Darshayami. If there is a children and they have learnt this new piece of dance. Dance is something which is simple things complicated. So the kid comes and first does the namaskar. So, it is simple namaskar, Baba. The namaskar itself is complicated. And then Kasturi, Tilakam, the Tilakam itself, first they lift the leg. Tilak लगाने के लिए पाँव उठाने की क्या जरूरत है? First they lift the leg and then put like this, and this is supposed to be the mirror. And then, okay, entertainment section. Maybe in today's world, you will say you want to watch a movie, catch up on some movie, nice movie. You understand the concept, right? Similarly, when we invite God, the best of the best of the best treatments. Now, the purpose of all this puja prakriya done is so that all the organs of perception, action, mind and the speech are involved, each one given a responsibility and a duty. Hands are busy, legs are tied down, the mind is constantly thinking, what is the next mantra, what is the next part of it, what is the next process, what kind of ingredients that have to be offered, the mind is kept alert. The intellect is synced in it because the clarity of the entire puja is in the intellect. So, all organs, perception, action, mind, intellect, speech, everything is involved in that act. And to the one that is invoked, we wash feet, and after having washed feet, we offer the Abhishek. And people think that, once I had gone to this Ekta Mandir here, long time ago, when I was new, and they were inaugurating either Hanumanji's temple or something, one of those aspects they were inaugurating, and I said, Satsang, can you speak to the gathered crowd? They should have left me alone. Okay. I do not remember who, but one of them said, Swamiji, this is a nice platform, can you tell them something? Can you tell them not to waste so much of milk and ghee and other things on this Abhisheka? Instead, they can give all this to some charity and save some poor soul. So, I looked at her and I was like, you got a wrong person, man. Because it is not a waste. When you are offering to the Lord, you are offering the best of the best. You cannot say that, as the Shastra says that I have to offer little milk, one drop of milk. You are giving everything back to that God who has created this universe. Plus, there is a scientific reason. Most of these statues are made out of either gold or silver or copper or the alloy of 5 metals or a crystal or granite or marble. And you are trying to worship that Lord for ages to come. Because these metal and stone pieces, they have a tendency to break off, chip off. When you offer this Panchamrita, the 5 nectarine elements of this world, it binds the outer surface so that it does not crack up. Plus, you are offering the best. Now, offering the best to yourself, what would you do? You would go to a spa. I don't know what kind of spa treatments are there. Mud pack? Is there a mud pack? So, they apply mud all over. I know only elephants do that they take shower, come back and throw mud on themselves. So, there is a mud pack. There is the crystal bath, wherein, and then you have the herbal oil with lots of good fragrances. You give a massage, and then the hot stone. Do you cut short on those things? No. Then why with the Lord? So, you are giving him a royal spa treatment with this Panchamrita. You bathe that Lord, clean that Lord, and then do the Alankara. Now, the Alankara is done in such a way so that the eyes through which the mind wants to go out is completely captured with that Vigraha there, that nothing else is more beautiful than the Lord. Most of us, when we do that puja, we are actually throwing flowers at the Lord. Imagine, I did this once in a Balavihar class, that instead of putting this Chandan Bindi here, I put it here. And I knew I was taking a risk because there were 400 kids in that Balavihar class. So, I had to maintain that serious poker face. I was trying to pull a fast one on these kids, and I went and sat down. I started. None of the kids were participating because they were busy. Look at the. And finally, one kid could not contain himself and said, Swamiji, you have put Chandan in a wrong place. I said, point and case. Similarly, when you are offering the flowers and decorating the Lord, it has to find that appropriateness, the coordination of colors and pleasant, beautiful decoration around, so that your mind is captured in that moment. And when you think of the Lord, that captured moment is reflected even afterwards. So, you offer the decoration, you give clothes and upavita, decoration. After all that is done, chandan, kumkum, haldi, akshat is offered. After that is offered, then you chant the 108 names. The glorious form and the various attributes of that great Lord are enumerated in those 108 names. After that, you offer the entertainment section, wherein, as I said, the various rides, various offerings that you do, you offer to that Lord. Finally, where did you invoke that Lord from initially? From your heart. See, when you touch that pratibimba, that bimba of the Lord, you hold your right hand in your heart, and then you imagine that that Paramatma is now being invoked from your heart into that statue. So, at the end of the puja, you ask that Lord to come back into your heart, because that is where we want to place him. With this effort, at a physical level, all organs of perception and action are not just tuned, but they are purified. They are tuned and they are directed towards that Paramatma. Puja, pujanam. After the puja is done, then we sit on that very seat, seeing that beautiful form of the Lord. We do the japa. Japa is the next technique. After the japa is done, because that japa takes another hour session to explain the ingredients of japa. It is not just a mechanical rattling out of the number of names that you have to chant. Most of us are like Om Namah Shivaya, 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 because we are in a hurry to finish that 108 beads. That is not the reason why we do japa. There is a scientific explanation as to what that japa means and how it brings the effect. Then, see, the puja takes say maybe half an hour, your japa takes another 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes, you sit and meditate on the various leelas of the Lord. Meaning, whoever is your Ishtadaiva, say supposing your Ishtadaiva is Hanumanji, you read the entire Hanuman Chalisa with its meaning, you read the entire Sundar Kanda with its meaning, you read entire Ramayana with its meaning, so that it gives you more information about the Lord and his grandeur or greatness. Then you sit and visualize those things in your mind, that Hanumanji did this, or Lord Shiva did this, or whoever is your Ishtadeva, that form of that deity, and we meditate on the various leelas of the Lord. Chintanam kramat. So, the next two steps of japa and chintana, because chintana can happen saguna sakara or nirguna nirakara, wherein you take a mantra and you try to understand the meaning of that mantra. It's process of contemplation, either contemplate on the Lord or contemplate on the beautiful meaning of the verse or shloka, or it can also mean the passage reading that you are talking. So, the passage that you read, a beautiful passage, and you try to contemplate on its meaning, or just sync yourself with the meaning, let the meaning percolate your system automatically, just consciously go through, repeat that entire thing. Chintanam krama, there are various methods there. So, those other methods we will see after I come back from India. So, in August, in all likelihood, in mid-August, we will have these sessions reopened, and it will be announced, so you will know it. So, until then, reflect on the puja vidhi. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.